Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It's Garlaanx here, bringing you a new Diablo video. And today, as the title suggests, we're going to be taking a look at the new tempering system. We're on the PTR today, the public test realm. Tempering is going to be introduced in Season 4. So they fixed or adjusted itemization in the game. So now when you get items, legendary items will come with 3 affixes, and then you're able to temper 2 more affixes onto them for a total of 5 affixes. Now this one in particular is what some people are calling primals, so this is like a primal 1. So this can drop and is now also tradable, by the way, but if you get that red little dot, like the 150% critical strike damage, that rolled at a higher base value. So that is rank 1, for instance, of what people are calling the new primals. So this goes to rank 3. So you can't get drops that will have 2 of these. It's a rank 2 primal. And then if you're really, really lucky, I actually found this necklace that's a rank 3 primal. And this just screams necromancer blood build, especially like blood surge. So you got +3 to coalescent blood passive, you have HP, and then you have resource cost reduction. Now the problem with these primals is that you can re-roll them, but it isn't going to re-roll as a primal, for instance. So if I would re-roll the resource cost reduction, it's going to re-roll as a base stat. So finding these is going to be extremely rare, extremely hard. Like I said, these are now tradable. You can foresee the problems with that. I mean, that's the elephant in the room. People are going to sell these for real life currency, like no doubt about it. And people are going to pay whatever they're willing to pay. If someone plays a necromancer blood surge build, is this $100 item? Is this $1,000 item? It's, whatever it is someone's willing to do. I don't condone that, but that is a topic of discussion. But I digress. This video is about tempering. So we're going to break these items anyway because they're irrelevant. So if you go into your collections now, and then the Codex of Power, and then the tempering recipes. So I don't like this right now, as you can't filter this by class. So for instance, you have your weapon, offensive, defensive, utility, mobility, and resource. So looking at offensive, for instance, you can see there's 66. I would like to see some kind of filtering system here, so I can only look at the necromancer ones, for instance. I only have a couple of them. Bone, finesse, and shadow, finesse, and then natural. Now these are going to come in 3 ranks as well, so you're going to have rare, legendary, what's the blue one called? Oh, just magic. So you have magic, rare, and legendary, and then the affixes go up. So looking at the shadow one, for instance, you can see a legendary shadow here. You have the possibility of rolling shadow damage over time, darkness damage, desecrated ground damage, and corpse explosion damage, for instance. So you go to any blacksmith. You're going to go to the tempering tab now. We're just going to mess with this weapon, for instance. So the weapon obviously can have a weapon temper and an offensive temper. Now you're going to notice if you hover over the item in the bottom right hand corner, it's going to say tempers. That's your tempers available, and you only get 5. So you can still end up breaking an item or bricking an item. If you don't get the rolls that you want, that item is pretty much, it's not useless, but it's not what you wanted. So if you spend real life currency on a rank 3 primal, and then you temper it, and you somehow break it or brick it, you just wasted that money. So I don't necessarily agree with this part of the system, the whole point of the itemization that they did was to lessen the RNG to get the affixes that we want for our builds. So now it's RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG. These manuals have to be found, mostly out of nightmare dungeons. So you can, like I said, you can see I'm missing a lot right now. And you can find these just randomly throughout your travels. You're mostly going to get them from like the Whisper Cache and Nightmare Dungeons. So it's RNG on top of RNG. You have to find an item that rolls 3 affixes that you even want. So this weapon's actually really good for certain builds, right? If you were playing a minion build, it's not only a 2-handed scythe, which gives you the maximum weapon damage. It's 925 item level, so it's the maximum damage you can get. But it has intelligence, max roll of damage, and then, like I said, the primal rank 1 is 150% critical strike damage. That's huge. That's huge. That's almost a wet dream of a weapon. The only thing that would have made this better is obviously if it rolled rank 3 primal on all of those affixes. But regardless, this is still a very, very good weapon. So that was RNG in itself, just getting the weapon. Then you have RNG of getting those temper manuals. Now those are infinite. Once you get the manuals, it unlocks on your account. So that's not that big of a deal. But like I said, rolling these affixes and you only get 5 attempts to do it, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that system. It could have been tweaked a little better, maybe 10 or maybe 5 per, because it's 5 total, guys. So let's say I roll 3 on the weapon and get what I want. That only leaves me 2 chances for the offensive slot. So like if we click on the weapon, for instance, we have a few unlocked here. What's the stats on this? Intelligence, damage, critical strike. So if it was a 2-handed sword and we were making a bone build, we might try to roll something with bone, right? Blood, you can see here, hemorrhage is horrible. The hemorrhage explosion size is horrible. The bloodland storiation is also horrible. So you would want to roll the blood surge nova size if you wanted this, right? Elemental surge is just a random affix to one of the elemental damages. Summoning, for instance. So let's just play with the summoning, because like I said, this would be a great summoning weapon. So our choices are minion attack speed, the chance for skeletal mage attacks to cast twice, or skeleton priest effect duration. So you would pretty much probably want the skeletal mage to attack twice. And like I said, you can roll this and maybe you get lucky or maybe you don't. Now once you roll and temper this, it does become bound. So if you plan on selling this for gold or trading it for items, you have to do it untempered. You can see the amount of resources here. That's insignificant as well. So let's go ahead and roll it. So we don't want that. So that's skeletal priest duration, 78%. It can roll up to a maximum of 90%. So that's already one attempt. So now we have to re-roll it, select it again of summoning, and then it will tell you temper re-rolls remaining 5. So the initial one's free, and now we have 5 re-rolls to get what we want here. So we re-roll it, and we got literally the same thing. Re-roll it again. Summoning. Re-roll. Literally, 3rd time in a row. Same thing. You can see the problem with this system. There's only 3 options available. Right? Summoning again. Reroll. So now we actually did get it, right? Skeletal mages attack twice. But it was a low roll. So it's only 33% out of the maximum 45%. So now you have to make the decision, do you want to keep re-rolling that to try to get higher? Now we only have X amount of tempers remaining, right? So we still have to do the offensive slot. which we're just going to do the natural finesse because that's what we have. So it would be damage, damage to crowd control, damage to close, and damage to distance. So we either want damage or damage to crowd control. We don't want the close or the distance. So we'll click this. The first one should be free, right? 0 temper. So we'll see what we get off the first one. So we got 160% to distance enemies. Now, unfortunately, we don't want that. So we want to re-roll this again. And now you can see, we only have 2 remaining on this item. So we'll roll it. Damage to close. Again, we didn't want that, unfortunately. Is it horrible? No, it's not horrible, but that's not what we wanted. Again, I believe this is actually the last one. And so we didn't get the damage, but we did get crowd control. So we kind of got lucky. So now that item's done. That's all 5 tempers on it. So if you did not get what you want, you've now broken your item. It's now bricked, essentially. Now, me personally, it's not horrible, but it's not the best, right? This could have been better. It only rolled 106% to crowd-controlled enemies out of 130, and 33% out of 45% for the skeletal mage. So by any means, it is not a horrible item. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know how I feel overall about the system. I think limiting the max of temper, I think it should honestly just have unlimited tempers. As long as you're willing to spend the resources, then why even have the bricking effect of breaking an item? Like I said, imagine getting a rank 3 primal, which I imagine is going to be fairly rare on the live servers, and you get 3 amazing affixes, all primal ranked, and then you go to temper your item and you just completely break it. Again, it's not essentially useless, but you see my point here. So yeah, they kind of changed itemization for the better. I do agree with that. I know everyone is hyped about this right now. Everyone's super excited. Diablo 4 has been saved, blah, blah, blah. But you have to look at the bigger picture. You're still going to be grinding, especially if you're a min-max player. You're going to want every piece of gear to be a primal rank 3, whether you farm it yourself, whether you buy it, however the means to get rank 3 primal rolls of the affixes you want, and then to get master, and then to get, max affix temper rolls, tempering. I'm going to have a separate video on masterworking, but masterworking 12 out of 12 increases the item even more. So you can actually mess up your masterworking as well. So you see the point. That's just a little preview of tempering. I'll maybe have an official video when it actually launches to see if they change anything in the system. So that's all I got for you guys today. Just a preview of the new tempering system. Like I said, I like it, but it does have its flaws. There are definitely flaws to the system. So that's my feedback for the preview here. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I'll see you guys real soon.